September is the month when the Board of Elections in various U.S. states take the time to mail absentee and mail-in ballots to their citizens who have requested to vote absentee. My name is Michelle Riley. If you're watching this video and you are a resident and notary for the state of Missouri, chances are you have no idea who I am. I am a Alabama resident and commissioned notary public. About 2 weeks ago, I did a live video on my YouTube channel educating Alabama notaries about our absentee mail-in process for voting in the 2024 general election. I covered tips, best practices for notaries to follow in order to make sure they avoid making common mistakes when notarizing the affidavit that accompanies the Alabama ballot. That information was received well, and it got me to thinking, if Alabama is the only state that has these unique requirements, because what really concerned me is here in the state of Alabama, if I make a mistake notarizing a voter's signature on the ballot affidavit, that voter's vote will not count. If I leave off critical information on the notary section of the affidavit, it is highly likely, from what I have been told from those who work with the election, that the vote may be or will be disqualified. And so that's what led me to doing the video. And once I received the response from notaries, I said, what about other states? And so for the past few days, I have recorded, I'd say, close to 5 videos for states that also have witnessing and/or notary requirements for voting. And as you probably already know, the state of Missouri is one of those states. And so in this video, I am going to quickly go through high level some information that will hopefully prepare you, commissioned Missouri notary, for requests that you receive from the public in order to notarize or witness their signatures. But before I do that, I think it would be helpful if you can follow along. And so I'm going to take a moment to share my screen. All right. All right, I am on the landing page for the Missouri Secretary of State's office, the elections and voting page. I'll be sure to include this URL in the description below. So this should be your starting point. And again, I'm speaking to notaries, Missouri notaries, and then scroll down to absentee. There's a lot of information for voters. There is very limited, if any, information for notaries, unfortunately. And so the only information that I got from this page that was helpful were these two links, because voters as well as notaries should not be contacting the Secretary of State's office directly with questions regarding absentee voting. Instead, you should be contacting your local election authority office. I'm going to click on the link, and let me just check real quick to make sure that you are seeing what's on my screen. Good, you are. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this link, and it brings you to a drop-down box where you can select the county that you live in or the county that the voter lives in. Let's assume you reside in Boone County. What drops down is the physical address of your local election authority, a phone number you can call, an email address, and then their own local website. And so, Missouri Notaries, I am encouraging you to email or call your county's local election authority to get accurate and up-to-date information about how to properly notarize the ballot affidavit or ballot envelope. You can use both of those words when helping a voter with the absentee mailing process. So again, if I were you, I would just call and say, hey, I'm a commissioned notary in Boone County, Missouri. I'm preparing for requests from the community on how to properly notarize the ballot envelope. What is it that I need to know to do or not to do to make sure that the ballot affidavit is completed correctly so that the voters' votes can be counted? Trust me, I thought about making calls myself, but as you know, it just leads to a rabbit hole, and there's not much time, and I've got other states to cover. And more importantly, I don't want to be the primary source for your information about absentee voting. So again, this is how you locate your election official for your county. And then I do want to show you something real quick. Believe it or not, this is the application. Let's see if I can make that a little bigger for you. That the voter completes. They can complete it online. It's a PDF. Fill out the information to request being able to mail in a ballot for November's general election. Notice at the bottom of this request form, you see a place for the registered voter to sign and date. It reads, I do solemnly swear that all statements made on this application are true to the best of my knowledge and belief. At first glance, it appears that this is something that needs to be notarized. But what's missing? What's missing is a notary certificate. So this would be another question that you will need to ask the election officials. Does the absentee ballot request form require notarization? Because me looking at this, as an experienced Alabama notary and notary instructor, my response would be no. It is not required. So again, I want you to confirm that before you act on that information. All right, let's see if I can get back. I can. I'm going back to the Secretary of State's website, and there are a couple things that came up. Give me just a moment. I also found this landing page. This is for St. Louis County, Missouri. They have a real nice infographic here. And it just says an absentee voting quick reference guide. And of course, this stood out to me. So, voters who have an approved excuse to do mail-in absentee voting have 5 ways to request to vote, mail in their vote. And then for notary, will you need a notary? And it says yes, unless you are incapacitated or confined due to an illness or physical disability on election day, including caring for a person who is incapacitated or confined due to illness or disability and resides at the same address. So you see how long and involved that statement is? That's another reason why I want you to reach out to your county local election officials. I believe they're referring to the affidavit envelope that comes with the ballot. That is what needs to be notarized. I did search online for a sample ballot with the notary certificate. I wasn't able to find one. So again, you will need to do that. But again, I'll put this link in the description for the video as well so that you can get back to it. There is some information here, but not a lot. And remember, it is specific to St. Louis County. So keep that in mind. The last things I want to talk about, I'm going to make sure I can get back here. I am on the National Notary Association's website. You may be a member. I am a member of the National Notary Association, have been for a very long time, a proud member. I am also one of the NNA's notary ambassadors representing the state of Alabama. I know, you're like, well, why are you talking to us in Missouri? Well, I explained that already. So this is a older article. I say older for a reason, because things do change. And so when you make that phone call, Missouri Notaries, to your local election office, it's important for you to ask these questions as well, because some of this information may be out of date. Wow. I haven't seen this in years, and they are quoting me in this article. I forgot all about this. All right. So as you could tell, I'm hyper-focused on voting. So for Missouri, here we go. Now remember, this is older information. Prior to 2020, Missouri allowed absentee voting for certain voters who met the state's eligibility requirements. And it appears that that is still the case. There are notary requirements for certain absentee ballots, and for others there's not. So again, you've got to get that information clarified. I'll go ahead and read this. I don't think I can make it any bigger. So in 2020, some absentee ballots need to be notarized, while all mail-in ballots need to be notarized, said Maura Browning, Director of Public Affairs and Strategic Communications at the Missouri Secretary of State's office. To be exact, the ballot envelope, not the ballot itself, that's true in all states, must be notarized. Absentee ballots in Missouri must be notarized, the envelopes, unless the voter has a qualifying medical condition. But what I really wanted to hit on is there could be changes because the NAACP and the ACLU did file a lawsuit that could have changed things, all right? But the other thing is about charging a fee. And I thought I saw that here. But what I want you to ask when you make that call to your local election office is whether or not you are allowed to charge a fee. Because in this same article that dates back several years, in Missouri at one time you could not charge a fee. All right, here we go. Some states prohibit notaries from charging a fee for notarizations related to mail-in and absentee voting. One such state is Missouri, where state law prohibits notaries from charging for notarizing the signature on any absentee ballot or absentee voter registration. So please keep that in mind, and make sure you verify with the authorities that that is still in place. Everything that I've been researching indicates that it is. This article, in case you want to reference it, it is part of the National Notary Bulletin. The name of the article is Notarizing Mail-in Ballots, Preparing Notaries for the November 2020 election. And this is dated October 8, 2020. So when you see the one with the mailbox, the article, and it says here it was updated in 2022. But again, these laws change so quickly. You want to make sure that you are up to date. That is all I have as far as sharing my screen. I hope you will take the time as a commissioned Missouri notary public to be 100% clear on what you can and cannot do, what you should and should not do during this election season, so that any notarizations or administering an oath, which typically comes with this type of notarization, is done properly. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Let me know what your experience has been or what your knowledge is about the subject. Again, I'm open to it. I'm hearing your feedback, and I appreciate you turning in. Wishing you and yours all the best this season and beyond. Have a great day.